Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Samri.
Welcome to the
Chopsticks and Fork, please.
podcast. So what are we talking about today?
Affirmative action.
Why we're talking about affirmative action? I don't know, but we just kind of came up
Because I
in
am
our
black
conversation.
and you are Asian.
Yeah, that's really the thing too. So I feel like we've had different views in about affirmative action, mostly from like our upbringings. Because for Asian Americans, affirmative, from what I've felt, it usually sucks for us because it means that Asians have to do really well to like get into like the colleges we want to.
So I'm curious. You're gonna share your childhood
Yeah.
experiences. So I did some research just
Yeah.
before we started, and it showed that UW,
Yeah, UW didn't.
University of Washington,
Yeah, the college that I had applied to was my college of choice.
yeah,
They don't do affirmative action.
yeah, and this whole time, until this very like a few minutes before
Yeah.
in your life, this is when you found out that you weren't discriminated against because you're Asian from
Yeah.
UW.
I was just dumb.
I mean, I don't know, like maybe they use something else, but
Yeah, but I do know that
formally
compared to
they don't
Asian,
use it.
yeah, but I do know compared to other Asians, I did not do as well as other Asians did.
So, we were scanning through an article.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Crosscut.
Mm-hmm.
I will link it in the description box, but it talks about. So we live in Western Washington,
Yeah, Pacific Northwest.
Pacific Northwest, and University of Washington is like top university here.
Yeah, it's like kind of like the really good school of like the area, and it's for us it's local.
Yeah.
Most people try to get in there, and it's in the middle of Seattle, so you get to be like in Seattle too.
Yeah, you get to like be invited to all the parties or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways, so it's what a lot of kids who are academically inclined wanna end up at. Like,
Yeah.
no matter the ethnicity or race.
Mm-hmm.
And from what you shared with me when we first started dating, and actually throughout our relationship, there's always moments where you mention affirmative action, and if we have a kid, they will be set because they'll be half black. And
Yeah, they'll be set because they'll be half black, and
Yeah.
they don't have to.
the one drop rule in
the one
America.
drop rule, and then they'd have an easier time getting in.
And it seems like the whole like belief that universities take your race into account, and Asians being judged, like you have a different curve you're judged against.
We're like, here's the thing: when you're Asian, you're like, we are told that like, oh, yeah, you're gonna be like, in America, everyone's gonna like look down on you, and you better, and so you have to, like I feel like African Americans hear this too, where like, you have to be like 2 times better than like the the white person to like succeed.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I was told explicitly.
Yeah. So like
I was
Asians hear
sat
that
down.
too. Yeah. Asians hear that too, and then like we're like, it is like mandated we do a good job.
I remember that conversation because it was like in the same table, me and my brother were sat down.
Mm-hmm.
The mood was serious.
Yeah.
And
who gave
it
the
was
talk?
the
Who gave the
same-
talk?
My aunt
Okay. Yeah, your
on
aunt
my
would do
Ethiopian
that.
side.
Your aunt would do that.
Yeah. So it was the same day, where they do there was the whole sex talk conversation about how it's better to wait until after marriage, because there was this video, not to go on a tangent, but
you're going on a tangent.
I just remember it because it was like the same kind of seriousness.
Yeah.
Where so the video, I'll try to be quick, but like, so there was this guy collecting firewood and like piling up this like dried wood, and like it was like 1 story high or whatever, and then he lights it up and it's like a big fire, and that's supposed to represent your sexual fulfillment when you have sex after marriage. And I'm like, oh god,
that's so dumb. That's really dumb.
But yeah, that's how Christians talk about sex, because they don't know how to talk about it. Anyways, so on the same day, she sat us down and she's like, "You're black. You're going to be judged at a different, like level by American society, and you have to work 10 times as hard." She said, that's just what other Africans told her, like a Nigerian guy told her.
Yeah.
That's how things go in America. And I was like, okay.
Yep. That's
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like how we do. That happens in like any. I feel like any like non-white ethnicity kind of gets told that. Right. Just like you have to hustle real hard.
Yeah.
But like for Asians, like remember reading an article about like a lot of people in the Asian community like doing protests on like affirmative action because it makes it really hard for like we can't even like it's I feel like the people who read acceptance, who read like letters to get into college are like really tired of reading the Asian American where like, oh, my parent, it's because it's almost when you write the essay, it's almost about the parents almost, where it's just like, oh yeah, the parents came over, worked hard, and then we're here working hard, we have to live up to their expectations,
So you wrote, so they usually write about their parents working hard on their so they could be accepted instead of their own struggles.
There's also their own struggles, but like, dude, what, like, if you compare, like, I mean, I'm going to use my parents as an example. They crossed the ocean, came here with nothing, hustled their way to, like, to the point to be able to, like, afford their kids to go to college. Like, those struggles sound way cooler than my own.
Yeah.
Right? Like, those sound much cooler than my own struggles, which were, like, a lot different.
Plus, whenever you complained, your parents would be like, "Well, when I was your age."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you heard that. You heard that. You heard that come out of my parents' mouth.
Yeah.
If I had any worry, I mean, like in high school, like I went through like depression and like anxiety, and that was essentially like not a thing to my parents. And like that wasn't a thing, and I couldn't use like if I said that like I'm dealing with like some issues like that, it doesn't matter because it's nothing compared to what my parents went through.
Plus, I feel maybe mental illness is not recognized as a real illness.
Yeah, especially like, when I went to school, it was still kind of like not as like respected back then, and even less respected by like, like minority families and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because because that affected my grades 100%.
Like you got lower grades.
Yeah, I got lower grades. I couldn't focus very well. It's being bullied. It doesn't make things doesn't make things easy when it comes to like studying, right?
Yeah. Plus, I feel even like maybe we didn't have the words to explain what was happening to us
Yeah.
at
Because
that
we're
time.
also teenagers and we're like socially awkward, right? We don't know how to use our words well.
That's true. Yeah. There's that, like just your age, the
Mhm.
hormonal
The hormonal chemical pot that is your body.
yeah. Yeah. And you're
Puberty.
like, oh, you feel like you have to figure everything out.
Yeah.
Your life has to, like every minute of
You
your
feel
life
like
has to be planned.
you feel like you're an adult, but everyone treats you like a kid.
Yeah.
That
That's
sort of
true.
thing. And then like your emotions are like cranked up to like level of 10.
Yeah. I mean, even to this day, like my mom treats me like a kid.
Yeah, no
Like
matter
when
how
I'm
old you
using
are.
a knife, she's like, "Oh, be careful." I'm like, "Oh my god." Or like I have to check in whenever I drive. She's like, "Oh, have you gone to your house?"
Oh jeez.
And then she would like call me and be like, "Why didn't you text me at least? I was worried."
My parents used to be like, my mom used to be that worried, but like she's told me like, yeah, you're married now, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they don't like. Oh, yeah, my mom still calls me. My mom still calls me just to see how I'm doing. But that's fine.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll talk to her.
yeah. You have to like text at least.
Yeah, you have to like. Oh, I like to call my mom rather than like just talk. I don't like
Rather
texting.
than
I don't like
texting.
texting. I don't like texting my family for some weird reason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's really funny because like your family seems to like text a lot in like your group chat thing, versus my family texting is like just, hey, are we meeting up? Yeah, okay. Our texting is a like more of a fulcrum for us to just meet up.
yeah.
Granted-
Or, like, what time are we meeting up?
Granted, my family lives much closer to each other.
Yeah, yeah.
So like meeting it, like for us, we're just like, oh, just talk when we meet in person, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just me and my brother. We're not like phone call people. Like
Yeah.
when we were in Ethiopia, we used to write emails to our mom
Yeah.
instead of calling.
Okay.
So that might be the genesis.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
But yeah, so affirmative action. So we live in the US, so we're
For those people who
concerned about the states.
for
we
those
don't
people
know.
who do not know what affirmative action is, affirmative action is like kind of like the act where schools will like give preferential treatment towards like towards certain ethnicities if they want to like boost the numbers of like people of color going into their schools, for example.
So it's also important to note affirmative action also includes women.
Yeah.
So it basically just does not include white men.
Yeah.
And
it also affects employment too.
Oh yeah, employment. Because like the number one beneficiaries of affirmative action are white women.
Yeah.
And then the race thing. But the race-based affirmative action is the one that gets a lot of attention from people.
Yeah. Let's see. I think is see, sexual preference also part of affirmative action? I feel like it is nowadays.
So I guess like when I googled U.S. states affirmative action ban, it says race-based affirmative action.
Okay.
So like I think in general affirmative action includes women, but when you like go down to the race-based, then it's race. But
yeah.
when it comes to, it's called EEO. Like usually when you like apply to jobs, at the end it'll say a blurb about like we do not discriminate based on race, blah blah.
Yeah, that's
so
okay.
like that is where like they
Okay.
talk about gender, sexual orientation, religion, and neurodiversity, all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was just curious about that. But yeah, it just seems yeah, and so it seems like for our state, affirmative action was banned in 1998, but apparently it was rescinded in 2022.
Well,
Apparently.
it's pretty like mixed information.
Yeah.
With the brief amount of research I did right before this.
Right before this.
There was like this voting that happened in 2019, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the ban is still in effect.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like the article that we were reading is from this year.
Mm-hmm.
And if it said rescinded, and then there was something about like Initiative 200,
Mm-hmm.
which
We don't understand law.
anyways,
we don't understand
there's
law.
a
We're
lot of
confused.
initiatives and
We're not lawyers.
one cancels the other, blah
Yeah.
blah, but like
So-
yeah.
So for me, as an Asian, growing up, I was raised up with closer to more Asians than black people, and the idea was, damn, affirmative action, making it super hard for us to get into the schools. You know, I would hear stories about like a dude having like 4.2 GPA, and like going to sports and like overall really good guy, and it's like, oh, he still couldn't get into like
UW.
the Ivy League schools or anything like that. You know?
So when it comes, so it depends on which school,
yeah,
because like not all states have banned it.
yeah, that's
So
true.
maybe the school he was trying to get into was
Has-
not part of the states where it's banned. And plus like the ban on race-based affirmative action is for public colleges and universities. That doesn't include private.
Oh, okay.
So for private, it all depends. Like they make the rules. Like
Yeah.
they can make it based on gender or sex. Like it could be
Okay.
exclusive. It could be exclusive of religion.
Mhm.
They can discriminate whatever and whoever they want, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, but then I haven't heard of any like explicitly like no. Like only whites allowed kind of
Yeah.
college. I don't know though.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
there
for
might
like
be.
the Asians, it's like we tend to be like, oh, if you compare us towards like other Asian kids, there's like heavy competition, right? Like we have like there's a lot of kids with four Asian kids with 4.0s. That's the average. I did not have a 4.0, and I remember that same year, like my college was set up. I went to my second chosen college. I went on a trip with a bunch of other kids that like kind of were like getting out of high school and going to college, you know, for a church thing, you know, and everyone's like, oh yeah, what college are you going to? Yeah, I'm going to UW. I'm going to UW. I'm going to the other school. And I definitely got the feeling I was being looked down on. I was like, dang.
You could feel the vibe.
I was like, am I the dumb one? Am I the stupid one?
So you're self-aware, self-critical when it comes to grades.
Yeah, like I've always had the feeling that I am not that good of an Asian
Because
No.
of grades.
because of grades.
So it affects your view of your... Like, it affects your identity,
yeah,
it sounds like.
yeah. Like I was, it affected me more back then than it did now. Right. Like, it affected me back then a lot more than it did now, where I was like, oh, I'm not that good of an Asian. And I hung out with more white people instead. Made me feel better.
Because they were not smart.
They were not as smart as me.
Or, like, they didn't care about school. Or,
Yeah.
like, comparing your grades. Oh, how much did you get on this test?
Yeah,
You're not gonna get that.
no one's gonna compare grades. We're just, like, gonna talk about, like, slacking off. You know?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, yeah, this feels much better.
So you wanted to be the big fish in a small pool instead of
Yeah.
medium-sized fish
Yeah, obviously.
in a small pool filled with big fish.
Yeah, pretty much. It feels a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for your ego,
Yeah.
especially at that age.
Yeah, because like, yeah, and it was really funny because my parents, like, they were always like, "Why are your friends like not as smart as you?"
Oh, really?
Yeah,
They
you know,
noticed?
they noticed. They noticed. They noticed.
Wait, how would they know they're not smart, though?
Just by like, that's just race-based conclusions.
Stereotypes.
Stereotyping, but they were right.
Mm.
Right?
Like the...
They would legit just ask, like, "Oh, how are you doing in school?"
Oh, they would ask.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, you know?
And the kids would be like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
You know? They didn't have the Asian kid answer.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have the Asian kid answer.
Like the
they weren't proud
canned
of
answer you would like release.
So when if you're an Asian, it's like, "Oh, you got all A's," you know? Like,
Yeah.
you got nothing to hide. But if you get asked that when you're a white kid in an Asian family, like, "Oh shit." Then they start deflecting. And they start deflecting, changing the topic, right? And the parents are like, "Oh, okay."
Okay. So there's a list of states in the United States which have banned race-based affirmative action. I will list them now. So California in 1996, Washington State in 1998, Florida in 1999, Michigan 2006, Nebraska 2008, Arizona 2010, New Hampshire 2012, Oklahoma 2012, and Idaho 2020. I feel and then there's also Supreme Court of the United States. SCOTUS is also gonna be deciding on a federal level if race-based affirmative action will be banned or kept in place. And I didn't note this on paper before, but there's history for why there's affirmative action, I believe. I feel because there was this like not consolidation, but like there were African American men, like civil rights people, who they were debating between should they be socially or economically equal versus like educational opportunities with white people, and they decided they wanted to get education.
Yeah, because like with education, there's like the idea is like, oh, with an education you can get a better job and do social up movement through that way.
Yeah, I mean, at least that's the idea, and that's why a lot of families just like drill that into their kids to go to college, finish high school, go to college. A lot of people have been, or like a lot of people have started going against that ideology these days, though.
Yeah, it's hard to say because like if you don't pick the right major, you get saddled with a lot of debt.
Yeah. With high interest rates.
And it slows down what you can do in your life for like a long time.
Yeah, like whether or not you're gonna get married or have kids or buy a house, where you're going to live, what sorts of extracurricular activities you could do, or like do you even have the energy? Yeah. Or like
what jobs you
have to worry about the freaking like student loans, so you're less likely to be creative under that stress.
Yeah, there's a lot of stress involved too with student loans. So it's like, do you want to like go to, like, and here's the thing too, like around the ages of 18 to 22, you shouldn't know the exact plan to do in your life. You should be allowed to mess up and not have to pay 20 years of your life to like pay it off.
That's true.
Pay it off, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the case with like a lot of people, where it's just like, oh yeah, like they did a job, they went to college, they went where they wanted to go, and like, like maybe went to a degree that didn't have that many job prospects,
Mm.
and then like
Oh yeah.
and then
Yep.
came out with a lot of debt.
Yep. That's well for me. On my case, I don't have any student loan debts because my family was under the whatever level. Like, if you're middle class, you're screwed. But
Yeah.
if you're like uber poor, you're set as far as like college.
Yeah.
As far as like if your
That's so
parents
hard.
are poor.
Yeah, it's really hard though to get your grades up though in like that situation too.
When
Like,
you're poor.
yeah, when you're studying, right?
Mm.
The environment. That's why like
Mhm.
for me, I flipped on affirmative action. When I flipped on affirmative action, where like even when I was younger, I was kind of like more leaning against it.
Mhm.
Now I'm like leaned towards it now that I know more about the black experience,
Oh, okay.
roughly,
Hmm.
ever
Interesting.
since dating you.
Oh, okay.
So like, yeah, I've flipped more towards that. It's like, oh yeah, I get it now.
Mm. Yeah, because I guess how poverty affects your studying is like, you don't have money for tutoring or extracurricular stuff. Like,
Yeah, and then like, not getting nutrition,
Nutrition.
which affects your
yeah,
grades.
your brain chemistry is not gonna be the same. Like,
Yeah, and you're like also
Yeah.
going through puberty, which is
Yeah.
like a high in calorie intensive like moments of your life.
yeah,
Let's see. I mean, there's like the whole like studies where like before you take a test, you do better if you just eat breakfast that day.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean there was free and reduced lunch. I didn't have to pay for lunch,
Yeah.
but the
But that
food
lunch
was
is
not.
not good.
Yeah,
That
especially
food-
breakfast. Oh my
Yo,
god, it was so
school
sweet.
lunches. School lunches are like terrible.
They are. I mean, even for those that pay for it. Well, actually, no, sorry. There were lines where it was free, but then there were other lines with like salads where you have to pay for it. And free and reduced lunch, kids couldn't go on those lines. I remember
Dang.
that very explicitly.
Dang.
I
it's
remember
cruel.
just like looking at the other lines like, why can't I eat those?
Yeah.
I wasn't in that mindset of like nutrition and like
Yeah, but because you couldn't have
macronutrients, blah blah. I was just like, yeah, since I couldn't have it, I was like, why is that?
Yeah, but yeah, like macronutrients and like nutrition is like super important.
Yeah, I remember like I was always sick.
Yeah.
My mental health was not the best. I was always sad. I was a loner, but I still like focused, or at least I did my best to focus, with school. I went to IB, which stands for International Baccalaureate, which is like AP International version. I feel it's harder than AP. IB is, and I burnt out. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still suffering from that burnt out. Like I have this aversion to like studying and focusing
Yeah.
because of what I went through.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, it just
Just like trauma.
Yeah.
Like this trauma of like studying and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
still have test anxiety. Like if you sit me like I say that like I am a smart person despite being like earlier this episode being like, am I a dumb Asian? But I think I'm a smart person. But like if you sit me down on like a test or anything like that, I won't do as well.
So those are, I guess, situations where educators and administrators should set up different policies to accommodate students like that.
Yeah, but that
with
costs
like more time.
that costs money, and we need to fund our military. That's the thing. That's what happens.
That makes sense.
That's what
yeah.
happens. Our tax dollars don't go to the schools.
Yeah, plus imagine like teachers are not being paid
Teachers are not paid
living
well.
wages.
Yeah, teachers are not being paid well at all.
And there's
They're also-
inflation and there's like
inflation.
a lot of teachers quitting, and
They also
Yeah.
like spend so much money out of their own pockets to like supply the classroom
yeah.
with like pencils and stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Or just like there's all these like some teachers who would like go above and beyond for some students.
Yeah.
Like they would even house them, like they can live with them or whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, like those are like, you know,
Those are the passionate teachers.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like, there's burnout.
Yeah, there's
There's a
teacher
lot of
burnout.
burnout.
We would always like talk about this in high school. It was like, okay, this teacher is the really passionate. We recently, I remember my physics teacher. He like he was a lawyer before, and he decided to go into teaching. He was like, really passionate about teaching the kids like physics.
Oh,
Versus
okay.
the other physics teacher who was burnt out, had been doing this for 20 years, and was like super like, I don't care.
Like he would come to class and would students be talking and he doesn't care, kind of thing.
She didn't care.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
yeah, pretty much.
She would be like, okay, there's.
I've heard. I didn't. I wasn't in her class. I was in the new guys, the new teacher's class.
Okay.
I enjoyed his class. I was like, he's my favorite teacher. I told him like, you're my favorite teacher.
Aww.
Yeah.
But it was like maybe his first year or something.
Yeah, I was like, I was in his class for like his first 2 years.
I wonder how he's doing now.
Yeah, I wonder how he's doing now. I'll look it up.
Yeah. But yeah, school education system in the US, and like I feel so one of my friend was a grade school teacher, and she quit being a teacher like I don't know 6 months or 3 months ago
Yeah.
because of all the demands that are placed on teachers with like little to no support.
Yeah.
And then at the same time there's parents who come to them
Who are
expecting
like,
you
expecting you to
yeah,
like do everything.
to be like their second parent basically.
Yeah.
And
it's
then
hard because
yeah.
like they keep increasing class sizes too. Like I feel like back in my day, class sizes didn't get higher than like. At first, it was like in elementary school, 20 kids per classroom, and then it just slowly got higher. Like when I was in high school, then it got to like 25, and then later I remember in college just hearing it was like, oh, now it's like 30.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's crazy. Like, can you imagine managing that many people?
Yeah, I mean the high schools like when I left high school it was under 2,000, but it was like reaching that number.
Yeah.
And it physically can't support like all the students that are
I know, like it physically can't fit.
in the US now. So like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're building like another school in there. Yeah.
Oh.
Where
okay.
you know where this construction on like the road to.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like they're adding like another school there. It
Oh,
looks like
okay.
it. It looks like it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
I was like, oh, cool, huh?
Ah, instead of condos, you think it's a school?
I think it's a school.
Oh
Or
wow.
at least maybe even like expanding the school.
Oh. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean like I think the solution might be you know like since there's more knowledge of neurodiversity,
Yeah.
maybe some can benefit from just staying home and doing it online.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends. I think it depends on each person, you know? Each person's different. But yeah.
Especially for kids who are being bullied, I feel.
Yeah.
It can help to have them in like smaller classes or like get educated from home if possible.
If possible, but like
Yeah.
homeschooling is also hard because like
on the parent.
like a parent, like imagine a parent like not knowing how to be a teacher
Yeah.
and then not knowing what to do. How do they like? There are plans online, but still that's hard.
Yeah, because
Like
teachers get educated on how to teach. Yeah.
yeah, like teachers are educated on like how to teach and they're trained to do that, and it's like we need to respect our teachers more.
Yeah. Teach or like treat our teachers like we treat our celebrities.
Yeah, like,
or sports people.
there was I feel like there was like an Onion like video that like treated like teachers like we were treating football players,
Oh yeah.
where like they got like teachers got drafted for like millions and millions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
to,
Oh
like,
my
different
gosh.
to, like,
Millions
different
of
schools.
dollars. Oh god.
You know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. The what is it? The difference or like the inequity between those two career fields.
Yeah.
Even like the not so well paid football players get paid way more than
Yeah,
teachers.
you know?
Like the best teachers.
It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. Even like administrators don't get paid as much as like.
Yeah. Plus, like we get to hear all the dank teacher stories from my sister, who is currently. She's not even. My sister like works as like a tutor. She doesn't teach like a full classroom, but she used to teach a full classroom.
And she decided to.
She doesn't like. She decided to do it's like the scaled down version.
Oh, okay.
Like she does reading. She like teaches reading as like a side extra class.
You know, that's what I was doing for like a month,
Yeah.
and then I quit to
Okay.
do the other one.
Yeah.
So I guess I know kind of. So she teaches kids like preteens though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's variety of ages.
Oh, okay. And she enjoys that more than
She
teaching
enjoys that.
a full class.
Yeah, she enjoys that more than teaching a full class. What I remember.
Okay. Yeah, it's more chill
Yeah.
teaching reading.
She used to teach for like a low income school before,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember helping out her classrooms, and it was really interesting being like, because for them, I was their only like older male figure in their life, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of them. So I was like oddly popular, even though I was kind of like a quiet guy who really didn't talk too much.
Yeah, because for them, you're like a cool grown up.
Yeah, it was like, and I'm not like in high school, right? I'm in high school and this is happening, so I'm just like weirded out that all these kids like me.
I mean, that's a nice experience for like a kid in your situation, like, because you said you were like not like part of the popular group.
Yeah, that's true.
And you were like depressed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did that help?
Yeah, I think that
going
helped.
to-
I think that helped a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Cause like, yeah.
Got me out of the house,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
that's good.
So that was fine. I think it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, even now, if you go to high school to like sub,
Yeah.
you'll be popular.
Yeah. You know, do you know why I went and helped out my sister's thing?
Why?
Because it was a way for me to get a lot of community service hours and just have my sister sign off on it.
Oh.
And just like have it just be like really easy accessible.
Oh, that you gamed the system.
Me and my sister both gamed the system because my sister needed help too. And I was like, hey, why don't I just help you out for my community service hours? And she's like, deal.
Nice. Nice.
We gamed the system that way. That's like you know that's like an Asian thing to do, like, you know, the Vietnamese thing to do. We figure things out like that.
Oh yeah. Cause so we were like just the other day.
Yeah, we're talking about my sister and her friend.
Who are.
We're talking about like how Vietnamese people just like we like to hustle people.
Hustlers. And the history of the like Asian American or like Vietnamese American experience in like what's considered like the projects or the ghettos.
Yeah.
And like your sister's friend is also Vietnamese, and she was talking about like most of her friends were black.
Yeah.
And she also mentioned how like the
woman
girls would like get angry at her
Yeah.
and accuse her of like stealing their men, and I was like, oh god, I was cringing on the inside. I was like, oh
You're
god,
like, oh no.
we're not all the same. I mean, hopefully it's better these days. Like, hopefully, like the girls are not obsessed with black boys. Like, oh,
Hopefully.
Hopefully the whole like divestment blah blah.
I haven't
like,
heard much from it. You haven't been mentioning anything to me these days.
Oh, I haven't, because like I have
Disassociated.
detoxed from that.
Yeah.
But hopefully it has like nudged the median psychosis of black girls and women from being obsessed.
Hey, you upped.
Like nudge it to the.
Hey, you upped the percentage by 1 at least.
Oh yeah.
of black women in a relationship just by doing it yourself.
Oh, way greater than 1%, I'm sure. Like, yeah, like black women and Asian man getting married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we upped that. We're a huge chunk of the percentile.
Yeah, we're a rare mix.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other day we were wearing matching tops.
Yeah.
Like Hawaiian t-shirts.
Yeah.
And everyone understood, oh, okay, they're together. Like, I could see it on their faces, and I was like, oh god, this whole time we just needed a uniform?
We needed a matching shirt. This is like a funny thing of like, oh yeah, they know now because we're wearing matching shirts.
Yeah, that's annoying.
It is a little annoying sometimes because like, well, we can go out and people don't think we're together.
Yeah, you have to like make it explicit, like, we have to hold hands or whatever.
Yeah, and like I think it's like, oh, we have the places we tend to go to a lot. That like I think they at this point I feel like they know.
And there's always this like, whenever either one of us are not wearing a ring, and we're like, oh, we must look like, you know, the married black woman has this like
this boy
fling.
this fling with this Asian boy toy.
Or when I'm not wearing it and he's wearing it, it's like, oh, he's like, he wants the flavor.
He wants to taste chocolate.
Yeah. So I want to make sure every day when we go out that we're both wearing rings, because I don't normally wear rings.
Yeah, like I usually wear the ring when I go out.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like habit now.
Yeah.
When I leave the house, I will grab my ring.
Yeah. Or like once or twice I left my ring at my mom's place.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shoot, I have to drive all that way.
Yep.
But yeah, so affirmative action, hopefully, you know, like the little research I did shines a light on this topic, and cause like it's pretty touchy topic, especially for like black folk.
Yeah. Hey, how's affirmative action affected you? Write a thing in the comments.
Yeah, leave us a voice note.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you know when our videos come up. And yeah, we'll see you later.
Bye.